Okay everyone, in this video tutorial we are going to look at CSS Shadow. Okay, there are two ways we can shadow stuff in CSS. We can do text shadow, we can do box shadow. Okay, for text shadow it only applies to text, just like the name suggests. Applies to text file. Okay, while this can apply to anything. Okay, this one have direct effect, the direct shadow on the text, whereby this one give it a kind of box and have a shadow on that box, or it can apply to image and a whole lot of stuff. Okay, let's quickly start by looking at the one of text shadow. Okay, I will start by creating a file. I'll call the name of this file shadow.html. Shadow.html. Okay, I have the file. Let me close others so that I will leave this here. Okay, my HTML tag version 5. Let me say shadow. Okay, let me just create a header 1 so that I will use it for my shadow. I say this is a text, okay, with shadow. Okay, I will be using internal CSS, say style. Okay, header 1. I want to give it a shadow. Okay, I can say text shadow is 2ps for instance. Okay, let's see what we have here. That is shadow.html. Okay, you see that this text has shadow, and by default the shadow is using a black color. Okay, the shadow is using a black color. I can specify the color by adding another attribute or another value here. Maybe let me say red. This red now becomes the shadow color. Let me refresh. See that the shadow color now changes to red. Okay, let me still remove this color and use it like this. Since I noticed that the default is black, I can change the text of this to white. Let me see what I have. Let me say color is equals to white. Okay, the color now becomes white, and since the default color for shadow is black, I have the text color and the white as text and then black as shadow. Okay, you may not see this. Okay, let me just specify this. Sorry guys, let me say black. I don't know why I'm not seeing it. Okay, the shadow now is black and the text is white. Okay, that is it guys. But let me remove this color. Okay, let me use the color of here green so that we'll be seeing the shadow, because we really want to focus our attention on the shadow. Okay, let me use green yellow. Back to this code. Okay, this is what we have. The text is black, the shadow is green. Okay, let me increase the first one. If I say this first one is 7ps. Okay, what do we have? Okay, you see what we have. You see that the shadow moves to 7ps. So this one now is talking about a kind of move to the right. Shadow moving. We are using this to shift the shadow to the right. Okay, let me increase it to maybe 17 so that the shadow will move more like this. The shadow will move more like this because that is used to move the shadow to the right. Okay, you see that the shadow has moved more. This each shadow has moved more. Okay, let me just give it a reasonable number like this. Let me say 50, 57. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, you see this W starts from here, but look at where it has moved. Okay, this is moving to right, whereby this is moving to bottom. If I say maybe 42, okay, see I'm moving to bottom. I have moved to right and moved to bottom. So simply means this one is the one for right. Okay, this is the one for bottom. This one is the color. Okay, here we have something like this. I'll comment. Okay, let me see. We have the right. The next one is the bottom. Okay, the next one is the blur. We call it blur before we have the color. Okay, look at what I mean by this blur. This blur, assuming let me just make it look red. Okay, let me say let this shadow be 3. Let this be 3. Okay, let it be 3. Let the shadow itself be black because by default shadow is black. Okay, let the text in header 1 now be white. Okay, let me say color white. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, you can see a text, the color is white and the shadow is black. Okay, let me just change this color from white to hash. I like using this color code. I pick this hash. Okay, I don't want this kind of color code. Okay, let me use this is a hash color. Okay, you see what I have, a hash color and the background color is black. Okay, I have moved it to the right 3 and move it to the bottom 3. Okay, I can just shift this to the right. Let the right one just shift to 1 px, just very little from its right position. Okay, you see what I have. Okay, so let me talk about the blur. Let me say, let the blur is talking about the thickness of this shadow. Let the blur be 5 ps. Okay, if I refresh, see that the thickness has increased a bit. Okay, let me say, let the blur be 15 ps. See that it increases the more. Assuming I now change this color to white. Okay, you see the kind of thing I have. So what I'm actually trying to explain is that this first one is talking about where you want to move the shadow to the right. The more increase it, the more the shadow moves to the right. This is for the bottom. The more increase it, the more the shadow moves to the bottom. This is for the blur. Okay, how the color of this will spread. The more it spread, the more it becomes a kind of faint. Okay, I can increase this to maybe 7 ps. Okay, you see I have moved the shadow a little bit like this. Okay, and equally move this to 7 ps as well. Okay guys, you see what I have. So that is it for the text shadow. You can make out your time and test a whole lot of things out. Okay, so let me do the one of boss shadow. Boss shadow is just similar to text shadow, but the point here is that it doesn't affect the text, rather it wraps around the boss itself. Okay, let me say I have header 1 again. No, let me now use header 2. Okay, let me call it boss shadow, so that I will use boss shadow on it. Back to our results. Okay, I have this now. Let me break line a bit so that it will be very far from this guy. Okay, yes, so we are now going to use our test boss shadow on this one. Okay, so back to the code here. I will now go direct to the tag that says h2. Okay, I says let the boss shadow. Okay, let it be 3ps 3ps. Okay, this is the right and the bottom 3ps. By default the color will be black. Okay, you see how the boss shadow works just around this boss. Okay, but let me make it work more. You know that edge 1 always have a width of 100%, so let me reduce the width of this edge 1. Okay, so let me say let the width be fit content. Okay, let it just wrap around the content. Okay, you see the boss shadow now. You see just like a kind of boss. Okay, giving me this. Okay, you can equally say let me say let it be green. Okay, you see that this boss shadow now becomes green. Okay, let me set the blur now. Let the blur be 8ps, just like the former one we did. Okay, you see what I have now as the boss shadow. The blur have tried to open up this for me. So the more I increase the blur, the more the shadow now shows. Okay, I can equally move this in a kind of let me say 7 and 3. Let me see what I have. Okay, you see, I hope you are seeing the difference between the boss shadow, a kind of boss, and the text shadow. The text shadow is giving the shadow on the text itself, whereby the boss shadow is a kind of going to the margin or the padding. Let me say just the margin of this text. It's not affecting the text, rather the margin, and this cannot work with image as well. Okay, let me go back to the code. Let me increase this to 18. Okay. You see what I have here now. Okay, this is for the boss shadow. Okay, I can equally pad this. Let me say kind of padding is 10ps, so that I'll pad it. Okay, you see what I have. I pad it now. Let me just curve it, and I say border radius. Okay, I'm giving you 5ps. Curve with 5ps. Okay, you see what I have. There are some buttons that will need a kind of shadow, then you give it shadow. Okay, shadow normally is good with black. Whenever you use black, it looks more sweet and it looks more real. Okay, this is the text shadow, and this is the one of boss shadow. Now we can equally use this boss shadow in image. Okay, so let me include an image tag. What image am I going to use? Let me use the poster.jpg. Okay, let me give it a class. Let me call this class boss. Okay, let me check this image. Okay, something is wrong. I have to link it to image folder. I have image folder where these things are kept. Okay, I now have the image. Okay, let me use shadow for it by making use of this class I just created here. Okay, in my CSS I now say .boss because this is a class boss. Okay, let me say the width. Let me say let the width be 300ps and let the height be 300ps. Okay, before I now work on the shadow. Okay, look at what I have. So I want to give it a shadow. In image, you don't use text shadow, you use boss shadow. Like I said before, text shadow only works on this text, but boss shadow works both on text and whatever thing you have in your coding. Okay, let me shadow it. Okay, I will now say boss shadow. Let me say 4 ps 20 ps. Okay, and let the color be black. Okay, this is the right bottom blur and the color of the shadow. Okay, what do we have? I refresh. Okay, you see this image now has a shadow. Okay, let me just break a line between this image and this header. Okay, I don't want their shadow to touch. I don't want this shadow to touch this shadow. Okay, okay, I have this. Okay, I will margin this image so that I will move it like this. Okay, this is the boss. Let me just use CSS and do my stuff. I say margin. Okay, margin 45 ps around all this image. Okay, this image come out. Okay, so let me try to expand this block and see what I have. But before then, let me move this thing more to the right. Let me say 8, and let me explore this to 30. Okay, something like this, just write code and test it out. If you got what you want, you now allow it. Okay, look at what I have. You see that this shadow is making this image to look more cool. Okay, I can equally add a border to look like a frame on this image. Okay, I can say border is 5 ps. I love using solid black. Let me see what I will have. Okay, you see what I have. Okay, I can change this to hash 1 to 3. Okay, I can equally curve it, border radius is equals to 20 ps. Back to this guy, I refresh. Okay, you see what I have. I think this make more sense. Okay, this is for the shadow, the text shadow and the boss shadow. Okay guys, thank you so much. Bye bye.